Bonjour, my name is Leonard Sumner from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and this is Native Americana Audio Cafe.
They say if you put your ear to a seashell, you'll hear the ocean, but if you put your ear to this radio, you'll hear a Native Americana Audio Cafe, but in this case, a Native Canadiana Audio Cafe. And we have a special guest with us today, calling all the way from Winnipeg, Canada, my good friend and a great musician, Leonard Sumner. Hello, Leonard.
Bonjour.
How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. The sun is shining, the sky is blue. Can't ask for much more than that at this time of year. It was snowing the other day, so pretty happy that it's not snowing today.
So am I reaching you, talking to you from Winnipeg, Canada?
Yeah, I'm here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. It's it's a city with a lot of Indigenous people, a high Indigenous population. A lot of issues with poverty and stuff like that as well. But a lot of strong community as well. And so things kind of go out of balance every now and then. There's been a lot of tragedy recently within our community, but one thing is you can always count on is the resiliency of people within our community as well.
Maybe let us, the viewers, know who you are and where you're from.
Bonjour, Denaway Maganaduk, Leonard Sumner, Indigenous Kashkagishi, Kamagak, and Anishinaabe and my name is Leonard Sumner from the Little Saskatchewan First Nation, located ironically in the heart of Manitoba. I'm Anishinaabe, and it's nice to be here.
Tell us about your music. I've heard it, and I think it's a really good blend of these styles. I know you can play country music. I know you put out rap videos, etc. And so tell us a little bit.
I started out like my first dipping my toes into music by in Canada we have these events called Treaty Days, and they're to celebrate the treaties signed between the many different nations and the nation of Canada. And some places have bigger Treaty Day events, and some places have like smaller local events where it's like races, foot races, different kind of costume contests, different things like that, canoe races. And then some other places have bigger events where they'll have baseball tournaments and a powwow, and then also jigging competition, and then they'll have entertainment with singing contests. So I started out singing at different Treaty Day events, just trying to win a few dollars, to go on to the next event whenever that was going to happen. I used to sing a lot of old country songs when I first started. Freddie Fender, Wasted Days and Wasted Nights was a big song for me. The old people just love that song. And then from there, that's kind of where I learned how to like be on stage and perform. But I always ended up finding I was losing because I didn't know how to play guitar. I would always lose to somebody playing guitar. So I vainly picked up a guitar when I was in college, and I was like, I'm not gonna lose to anybody anymore. I'm gonna learn how to play. So I taught myself how to play guitar watching YouTube videos back in like 2006 or 7 when YouTube first came out. And ever since I learned how to play, I just started writing music. And so by that time, I'd already been writing a little bit of hip hop and freestyling and stuff like that. And I started rapping over just simple chord progressions, and it kind of turned it into a style. And I was like, oh, I could do this, and figured out how to write, stuff that didn't feel like I was forcing it. I felt like, the CDs I burned growing up, the music I listened to growing up had a lot of country. And then as just by the nature of popular culture, I ended up getting into hip hop because I was a teenager when rap music was just starting to blow up. And so it was kind of a natural mix of both of these genres, and that's kind of what I do. I try not to, I try not to focus on too many. I try to be a storyteller. I want my music to make sense. I want it to sound good. and I wanted to be comparable to the stuff that I was listening to growing up lyrically. So I really put a lot of attention to detail in my lyrics and try to tell a good story. And then when I perform live, it's a mix of sometimes spoken word, sometimes it'll be a more country set, sometimes it'll be a more hip hop set. I try to cater to like the audience that is there, and then I speak a lot about political issues as well.
Where'd you get your black guitar, and when did that come into the scene?
I bought my black guitar. It's a carbon fiber rain song guitar. I bought that in I want to say it was 2016. I was in Toronto, on the outskirts of Toronto, playing a big festival, and I was. They have when you stay at somebody's house at the festival, you don't get a hotel room. The town's too small, so they just put you at someone's house. I had to go stay at this farm, some random farm, and I didn't steal the guitar from there. I was up all night and I couldn't sleep, man. It's like in this room, I'm in some stranger's house. I'm like, this is weird. So I was on my phone most of the night, looking on. It's the equivalent of Craigslist, but it's called Kijiji, and it's like you can buy and sell stuff on, just meet up with people. So I saw this carbon fiber guitar in Toronto, and I phoned the guy, emailed him, and just wasn't answering. And then I left the festival. I went to Toronto for a few days, and I had a flight back to Winnipeg. And about 4 hours before my flight, I phoned this number again because I saw this beautiful guitar I wanted to go like look at, and called the guy. He answered. I got my friend to drive me down to his place. It was like in North York or something like that, big fancy high-rise building, and I negotiated to buy this black carbon fiber guitar off of this young man, and then I got driven to the airport, and a couple days later, I drove down to South Dakota from Winnipeg, and I met you down there, and we were playing the Black Hills Unity concert, and I remember you were telling me like, oh, let me see, that's a cool thing, and like here man. And so I passed you my guitar, and you said, like guitars are like babies, man. They get their stories from other people. You gotta let other people hold them. And I was like, oh man, that's a good teaching from Uncle Keith right there, man. I'm gonna take that with me. And yeah, ever since then, I've just like, anybody wants to play my guitar, yeah, go ahead, give it a spin. You know what I mean? And so that's the story of my carbon fiber black guitar. I've been to Australia with it about 4 or 5 times. I've been across Canada and the States with that guitar, and it's just been good luck for me ever since I picked it up.
I always say to people to learn the two chords of life, D and A, and that's something that you learned the magic of life just recently with the birth of your daughter.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this magic.
I think it kind of starts off. It starts off in a really sad place because, like a year ago yesterday, my mom made her journey to the spirit world, and she was pretty much the main reason why I do everything that I do. Her and my dad, like I always just wanted to make them proud. And so being able to like play festivals and play music was like one of the things that made her the most proud. And she got to like come to some of these places with me and be a guest at the festival. And so like missing my mom, like was very hard, man. So it was started from there, because me and my wife, we were engaged at the time. And you always think you have like 10 more years with your parents, man. Like, you don't know, sometimes you don't have 10 more days, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that unpredictable. And so she passed last year, and me and my wife were engaged at the time. And it was just like, we'd been trying to have a baby for a few months, and I wanted to give my mom a grandchild. And unfortunately, that wasn't the way it turned out. But then, she made a post yesterday where I always say, like, or I've been told that the way the Anishinaabe think is the creator never leaves a void, or an empty space with love. You know what I mean? It always sends love where you need it the most. And so not even a year later, here we are with our little baby, and we named her after her grandmother's. Isabella was my mom's first name, and then we named her after my wife's mother, and her spirit name is Gijigo Gijigowiabikwe is her name, but we shortened it to Gijigowiabik, which means, like, what I've been told is it translates into painted sky. And then her the Crees usually have another spirit name. My wife is half Trini and half Cree, and she also has another spirit name that was given to her by her uncle, which is Makidea Asine, which is black stone. And so we gave her a third name in English on her official papers as Onyx. So, and then Sumner, of course, is her last name. But that's where it all started, was when my mom passed. I said, like, I thought to myself, like, you don't know how much years we have left with everybody else. We should try and, if we're gonna start a family, we should try to do this as soon as possible. And my wife and I both feel that there was some spiritual intervention with that, and we prayed to my mom, and our Anishinaabe and the Cree way is that we make a journey after this one is complete, the spirit world, and we asked my mom to spend some time with our baby and send her down send the baby down when she's ready. And 2 months later, or about a month and a half later, we were, found out Tasha was pregnant. And so now, the spirit world operates on a different time than we do. So that time she had over there was equivalent to what our lifetimes will be, is what my opinion is. And she spent that time with our baby and sent her down here to us. And now we get to spend time with her.
I guess that is one of the ways that you're coping here when it's quarantine time. And it's kind of ironic for our traditions for us to be sharing the newborn and things like that. But this is part of our coping. How do we cope, Leonard? How are you coping?
Honestly, we're coping the same way everybody else basically is coping right now. And that's a lot of Netflix and a lot of staying home. Uh, and just trying to keep our baby safe, because we're not really quite sure what this virus can do. Like, we went into labor, and there was inklings of, like, oh, there's a virus spreading. It's in China. It might be in other places. And then, like, we were in the hospital for 3 days. And when we came out, it was like almost like a different world. People were stocking up on toilet paper and, like, just mass buying everything. There was no hand sanitizer anywhere. And so we came out to this changed world. But our life has been pretty stable as far as what we're able to do at home. Like, we own a home in Winnipeg, and so we have everything we need aside from groceries. My wife's been really good at ordering stuff online, and I just go pick it up, so I don't have to be in and out of the stores and stuff like that. And then just being with baby is, like, it's difficult for us because in Anishinaabe, Cree, man, we like to have big gatherings. We like to, like, everybody wanted to come and see us now that we have this new little bundle of joy sitting with us, and nobody's able to, like, come and visit the same way that we had hoped and intended to. But we did find out that there are other cultures that take this time for the first 30 days, and you were one of the people that told us that like, it's one of the ways of the youth people to just spend the first 30 days with mom and baby together and just really tight knit. And that really gave me something to be like, okay, then we're just adopting this new way for our baby. And then once this is over, we'll have a gathering as best we can and let everybody come and visit, But for now, we're just playing it safe and trying to figure out how long we have to be kind of stayed at home. But I see so many people out and about, man. Like, we went for a drive yesterday. People are out in the park. They're having a barbecue. People are driving back and forth. The traffic, the grocery stores are full. And I don't know if it's because we're testing lower here in Winnipeg, or because people are just have been like, we only get so much nice days, then it gets cold again for another 6 months, you know. So I'm not sure what it is, what people are, if it's the going to stir crazy or if they actually need these essential services. I'm not sure what's going on, but it seems like there's a lot of people just continuing on with daily life as if nothing is going on with the rest of the world.
Have you been able to create during this time?
Uh, nah, I haven't really been creating a whole lot. A lot of my stories, especially musically, uh, are based on two things, right? It's uh, the two mottos I have are "To thine own self be true," which is a Shakespeare quote, and then "How vain is it to sit down and write when you've not stood up to live." And that's kind of like the what I apply my songwriting to is like, if I'm gonna sing about these things or have stories to tell, then I want to make sure that I've been a part of those things actively, and not just like, you know, there's other songwriters out there that they're known as a, you know, outlaw kind of persona or whatever it is, and then you meet them and they're regular people, and you're like, do you have these different expectations of your musicians? So now that I've been sitting around here for the past 2 months, like I haven't really felt that creative, because usually I get my songwriting ideas while I'm out and about and just doing other things. So I haven't been really to create in that way.
Remember this song? I guess it's fitting for you. It goes, "What does my baby need? What does my baby need? The world's on fire, but nothing transpires. What does my baby need?" But it's almost like this, hey, a newborn and the precious newborn, and you're consumed in the present tense, you know, which our elders talk about for us to be in the present tense. And now we get a good dose of it. And we're learning how to live life preciously in the present tense. And your music, I listened to the song Pieces. You loaded up is it unreleased album? Coming?
Yeah, the unreleased album. I have an album called Thunderbird coming out. I'm not sure when I'm gonna release it. Probably in September, but it's more of a rap album. And when I started out musically, making my own music, it was a rap music. And so the past two albums I did were a mix of like folk and country, and even like I would say a little bit of like rock. Now I'm kind of taking a step back and doing a hip hop album. So the song Pieces is the first single I released, because that's just an industry thing now. Is the smart way to release music is to do singles, because people's attention span is like very short, you know. Like even if you see a Kendrick Lamar release an album and it took him 4 years to make it, people listen to it for a day and then they're like, oh, I wonder when the next one's coming out. So bonjour, my name is Leonard Sumner from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and this is my new single Pieces on Native Americana Audio Cafe.
If I could see a million sunsets, heaven with you by my side, wouldn't be a need for heavens, what it looks like in my eyes. If I believed in fallen angels, think I caught one in my arms. I was in pieces when you found me, letting go and holding on. 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 I was in pieces when you found me, letting go and holding on. If I make it home by midnight and I see the porch light on, it would make the journey worth it, every footstep on the ground. Cause I don't feel so broken when you're right here in my arms. I was in pieces when you found me, letting go and holding on. 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 I was in pieces went your family letting go and holding on. Her love is a spirit played with soul food, healing for those old wounds. Leave a mark on top your heart like scar tissue and tattoos. Feels too good to be true. My love, I need you. I know you see through my demons when I'm near you. Got this a time, stay on the grind. Love of mine, keep me aligned with the peace in my heart and the war in my mind. Worthy your worship like stars in the sky. I would catch you should you ever choose to fall. I would catch you should you ever choose to fall. I would catch you should you ever choose to fall. And I would catch you should you ever choose to fall. Letting go and holding on. Letting go and holding on. Letting go and holding on. I was in pieces when you found me. Letting go and holding on. 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 I was in pieces when you found me. Letting go and holding on.
I guess if I could ask you, how would you define Native Americana?
I guess I would define Native Americana as just being genuine to the stories that you're telling. And, you know, I think there's different lanes for different people. And there's a lot of indigenous artists from Canada that are having a lot of success in the mainstream. And to have success in the mainstream, it really depends upon the team that you have and all that sort of stuff, and getting just completely immersing yourself into the industry. So I guess to me, Native Americana would be staying true to the roots and trying to keep it as grassroots as possible, and you know, like making sure that you're doing your best to tell genuine stories and to be a genuine person. And you know, I don't think it's very much. I don't think it has to be too deep. It just really has, it's to keep it simple.
Yeah, that's a good definition. Tell us how do we get a hold of you and your music?
If you can go on to leonardsumner.com is my website. On my Instagram is at Leonard Sumner, on Twitter at Leonard Sumner, and then my Facebook page is Leonard Sumner Music, facebook.com/Leonard Sumner Music, and then iTunes, Spotify, Leonard Sumner, LeonardSumner. I was wondering if I could ask you about. I remember I asked you about this when we actually met in person, but I'm not sure how many people have heard the story of you like starting your musical career. And I remember you were telling me that you just left the res and like you had like a bag of wild rice and your guitar and a couple bucks and you just hit the highway. So like maybe just refresh us all with a little bit of that again, man. I'd just love to hear that story.
Well, I was bombing around on the Iron Range, you know, where we're all from up there in northern Minnesota. And I had graduated from college and things like that. I went to community college and I went to the University of Minnesota. And, you know, I had been worked in the field a little bit, but I was always playing music. Yeah, I had a little band. We had a band called the Schwartz Brothers. We were kind of named after the black sheep, you know, the misfits of the Iron Range. But we're all beginners too. Like nobody could play guitar good, except we had the lead guitar player was a great guitar player. And the singer, the female singer, could really belt the blues and still can sing tremendous today. So you can get anywhere when you have a good, strong singer like that. And so we were more like props and entertaining, and we're called the Schwartz Brothers. So this is my music background. When I left the Schwartz Brothers, I left for Arizona eventually, where I met my wife down in Colorado, and we had planned to move together. But I had to make the venture from Minnesota to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then eventually I made it out to Arizona, but through various odd jobs. But my friends took me and dropped me off on Route 66 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I got a job playing at the Morning Glory Cafe, and I had about $100 at the time in my backpack and a guitar. And that's pretty much how I left for my dreams, you know, and said, okay, where am I going to sleep tonight? You know, I remember eating all I could in the Morning Glory Cafe because it was Thanksgiving Day, and you know, I remember playing there, and I only knew a few songs too, you know, like, and so the whole journey became the process, and so that's kind of it. Thanks for asking me that, Leonard. I'm going to hand this torch to you next. And you're going to go around and interview people, and you're going to collect our stories. And